I'm Brittany. I'm a licensed elementary school teacher, but I'm staying home right now to homeschool my 2 kiddos and run my business. And today we're going to talk about planning. Okay, so one of the things that homeschool parents do differently all over the place is plan. Some people like to plan the really in-depth plans, the kind that teachers do when we're first learning to teach, and you have to write out every single bullet point of everything you've done throughout the day. Other ones kind of like to fly by the seat of their pants. Now, I will say one of the things that you need to take into consideration is what your state's requirement is when it comes to. Sorry, my daughter came downstairs. One of the things you have to take into consideration is what your state's requirement is as far as documentation. Some states require more than others. You need to check with your state before you start documenting. That said, one of the things that I've done is I've actually designed a planner. Now, you obviously don't have to use mine. You can see my son's lovely artwork here. He got a hold of my pink pen. But this is just to give you an idea. You don't have to rush out and buy it. I mean, cool if you do, but this is just to give you an idea of some of the things to take into consideration when you do start planning for homeschooling. Now, I will preface with I am working with my preschooler right now and my toddler, so we don't have any legal requirements right now as far as documentation. A lot of what I'm doing is practice, and it's for my own sake. It's not for the sake of turning it into the state. I did, however, actually, before I designed this, talk to some of my friends who are in states or will be moving to states that do require documentation. So I took that into consideration when I made this, and I have been told by one of the friends that I talked to that this was exactly what she needed to record her stuff so she would know how to document. So, like I said, some people really like to plan in depth, other ones don't. And so what I've done in here is I have tried to make space for all kinds of people. This is just a basic monthly planner. Now, actually, you can kind of see here, I made the boxes open. I made this entire planner open, actually. I didn't even put a year on it. And I did that because I don't want people to miss a month or miss a few weeks and feel like they've wasted that space in their planner. Everything in here is something you can use at any time of the year. I actually made it so that there are 12 months in the year in here because, for example, the friend that I had talked to, she homeschools not according to the traditional 9-month schedule. She does something else. They start at, I think, the beginning of like January. That's their year. That's fine. That's the reason I made this, so that you can fill in whatever numbers you need, and if you miss something, you just start at the next spot. So what I did is I made everything open. Now this month, very little is actually written in here because we went to visit our family in Las Vegas, and I kind of had an idea that all this COVID-19 stuff would blow up, and it did, and so I didn't plan a whole lot because I knew that things would be changing. See if I have a month that I did significantly more in here. Like I said, we're still at the stage we don't have to do a lot of planning because I'm working with very young children. And with very young children, you can't plan that far out ahead because they change their needs all the time. They may not be ready for something. You have to pivot really fast. And so that is something that, is our need. And when I designed this, I made it because people have different needs when they plan. I made this so that it could be used with high schoolers, it can be used with, preschoolers, it can be used really for whatever you need. Let me see. Like I said, I don't usually do a whole lot of planning ahead because we have small children, and so it's not like I'm not, planning with like this is the chapter of the textbook we're going to be using. We just go by what they need. Something to take into consideration when you're starting your planning is what your goals are for the year. And I put in a section here. So at the beginning, here, I'm going to actually switch this. So give me just a second. Okay, so this is the beginning of the planner, and this is just an example that I put in so that people could see kind of what they were looking for, what they need to do when they fill in the planner. So I give, as you can see, examples here. I actually start with the student profile, and this is just something that you don't have to do, but you can if you need copy it, print it out if you need to give it to someone and need to give your child's basic information really quickly, or if you need to copy it down, it's all right there. And I have, these are just sample pages, but I have examples of this throughout the book. So goals. So I have an English language arts goals section. Let me see, where's my, these are the ones that I actually filled out for my daughter. Goodness. Let's see. Okay, so we'll just stick with this one. So I chose ELA. So now I didn't do very many in here because obviously for a fake student, I'm not going to plan an entire year. But these are just examples. So goals are learning, they're skills that you want to strive for, things that you want your child to be able to do. So for example, name all of the letters in the alphabet. Match each letter in the alphabet with its sound. You know, read the digraphs TH, CH, SH, PH, and GH, and learn long vowels. Okay, so those are just some examples of what an imaginary student might have. And I have this for multiple topics. I also have blank ones. Like this is just, these are blank. So that you can use them for whatever you want. So that's my social studies, math. Okay, here we go. So these are the ones that I had set for my daughter. Again, when you're working with younger children, you have to be flexible and you have to understand that as long as they're learning, you're doing well. Just because they don't hit every, you know, tick every little box you had set for them, maybe they're not ready to. Not all kids are ready to learn things at the same time. These are just things that you're working towards. They help you focus. So you don't start at the beginning of the year and say, oh my gosh, my kid has to learn all this stuff. What do they need to learn? You can sit down and say, okay, these are the things that they need to learn. Let's see. So here are some of our math concepts that I want her to do, more or less. Be able to use a number line. I want her to be able to measure just basic things with a ruler, to do number sentences, you know, with single digits, addition and subtraction. These are science topics I wanted to get to. We are not going to get to all of these this year because some of the topics we actually went a lot more in depth than I had thought we would. We spent forever on the ocean. So we also spent a long time on science. So these, we spent a long time on deserts. Again, because my child's in preschool, I don't have the state requirements that a lot of, you know, older students are going to have. Social studies, these are, you know, topics I wanted her to study, and by study I mean mostly reading and talking about. And then I left a bunch of these blanks so that you can decide, or whoever was using this could decide what they want. And again, you don't need to buy this if this is just to help you kind of get an idea of what you need to do at the beginning of the year. You need to choose what your child is going to study, because if you don't, your studying is going to be all over the place, or it probably will be all over the place if you don't know where you're going. It's kind of like saying I'm going on a vacation and having no idea where you're going to get there or how you're going to get there, what cities you have to stop at along the way. Okay, now I'm a Christian and I did write this with Christian parents in mind. Obviously, you don't have to fill out these sections, but they are sections that I think are important. So it is very important to me that my daughter learns hymns from a young age. I want her to know how to praise God in church, and our church sings a lot of hymns, and I want her to take comfort in knowing really how she can praise God on her own. And when we go over hymns, we actually talk about what's in them, what the words are, and then we memorize them. And, you know, I don't sit and play piano with it. We literally just do it a cappella around the kitchen table for lunch. These are the hymns I wanted her to learn. Once again, I don't think we're going to get to all of these because in order to learn them the right way, we're going at the speed at which my kids are ready. These are Bible memory goals. Same thing. I want her to learn basic Bible memory. From a young age. I want her to know the truths of our faith and what she believes so that as she gets older, she's not confused. She has a foundation. Catechism goals. I left this blank because at the moment I didn't know how fast we would be getting through. We're working on the children's catechism right now, so I left this blank just because I didn't know how fast we would be going through. We're working through, let's see, I can't find it, of course. Children's catechism. Well, I don't have it right here. We've been using it, but oh, hold on, I found it. This is the first catechism for kids, and it has questions. So right now we're on question, let's see, 29. So I did leave that blank, but that's again up to you. Music goals. Does your child take, music lessons? Do you have certain kind of techniques that you want them to learn? What are your child's music goals? Are there songs they want to learn? As your kids get older, it actually is a good thing if you sit down and talk with them about their goals. You get input from them. Are there things that they want to learn? Are there things that they find easy, find difficult? These are important to talk about. Physical activity goals. Again, my kids are in pre-K. Our kinds of activity right now are like playing at the park. You could put, if your child's in occupational or physical therapy, if they have particular goals from their therapist, you can put them here. Books I want to read. This is very important, especially if your child's older and you have a list of books that your state wants them to read or that your curriculum requires. We're still at the point where we're reading everything in, all the picture books we can get our hands on. We've started on chapter books aloud. Okay, so August, for example, I wrote the numbers in. The reason I left these boxes blank is because obviously every month changes. And so I wanted, again, you to be able to fill in the month that you start on and fill it out the way it's supposed to be. There's a section for notes. Let's see. Okay, and then I have 5 weeks for each month. And then what you can do, and I will skip to this month now. Here we go. Okay, nope, that's not this month. This month's been weird because, again, we've been out of town a lot. Okay, so you fill in the week. I have the catechism questions up here that we're working on. I need to update that. We're working on the 10 Commandments this week. We're reviewing our hymns because we've done a lot of them, and I don't want her to lose what we've already done. Monday, so ELA is English Language Arts. And so this is our reading, our phonics, our sight words. These are all the things we worked on Monday. We worked on math, faith, so catechism, hymn review, Bible story. Science, again, we're not getting really in depth into science this year because there's so little. It's more just watching documentaries, reading books, doing fun little experiments like we did the color experiment Tuesday where you dye water and mix the colors and see what happens. My son's face was priceless when he saw how to make green. It was so funny. Wednesday was kind of weird. I felt horribly ill yesterday, which is why I did not have a video come out. So some days are like this. Some days you just don't get anything down because something happens. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, is you just move it to another day. Today we have not done math yet, but we have done part of our ELA. We still have to read our dot book. We haven't finished faith stuff yet. Let's see. My daughter watched a Rocks and Minerals DVD, and we read a Prairie Fire book. And then Friday, and then again, you've got a section for notes. And I left these blank. At first I had these all labeled, but then I realized as kids get older, they're going to need different sections. Parents could use this for multiple children. It probably is easier to use one per child. I was going to design one for multiple kids. I haven't had the time for that yet. But it's probably easier to use one planner per child as they get older, because obviously, in a couple years, my son is 2, my daughter is 5. He's going to be working on much different stuff than she is. So I might be reading, a novel with her, and I will be reading something much easier with him. Let's see. So let's go then. And then each month I have the same things as well once I finish okay. So I have a whole section here for monthly projects. So if you have projects that you're planning, whether it's a book report or a big, a science report or a science experiment, some kind of project. It could even be science using baking a cake, which actually I should probably write that down because we did that. We baked my daughter's cake. And we watched Magic School Bus to go with it because they have a whole episode on the science behind how a cake bakes. I had my daughter participate in it, but here's a section for the materials needed when the project is due. Again, that's more important when your child is actually turning things in for a grade. I don't do grades for pre-K. I just don't. And then instructions, notes, whatever you need. And so there's a section there for 4 of those. Okay, so I haven't finished my notes to myself yet. The month is not done, but I have written to myself notes for her math. Now, I have 2 sections for notes. There's cumulative and summative. Now, cumulative notes, those are notes, when you say cumulative, you think of, accumulating. they're not official. They're just notes to yourself about what's going on. Summative notes. Okay, so cumulative grades, for example, would be if you gave your child a pop quiz and they got 7 out of 10 right, you're not going to give that usually too much of a grade, or you might give less of a grade. It's just, hey, this is for me to know how we're doing. What do we need to focus on? Summative assessments would be, so for example, I checked my daughter this week. Now she again doesn't get a grade, but I checked her first ability for her ability to read the first 3 Bob books. She passed with flying colors. She, I think, missed maybe 1 or 2 words in all 3 books. And so I wrote down, you know, she passed them for good. She's finished. She doesn't need to go back and do those. So when I look back, I know, okay, she did these. Now, for older kids, you can actually give them a score, you can give them notes, you can give them the actual assignment or test grade. These are usually the ones you would give more for grades when you're, you know, adding grades up. Let's see. Okay, so reading log. Now again, we were out of town quite a bit before this, and it's just been a crazy month, so we haven't been recording minutes. But again, for some states, you might need to record minutes, how long you're reading. We read every single day, so I haven't been too worried about this because, again, we don't need recorded grades. But to give you an example, Monday we read with my daughter 4 things, got 30 minutes of reading in. We got 40 minutes on Wednesday. Yesterday was weird because I didn't feel good, so we read, but I honestly don't even know how much because my husband had the kids for most of the day. And then we've started reading today, but we haven't finished. If you need a physical activity log, again, here you go. Not something my kids need yet. We have a bouncy horse and a trampoline, and they spend a lot of the day zooming back and forth. Because we're, you know, everybody's under quarantine right now. We go for walks sometimes. I haven't really been recording that. Okay, thank you. My son's getting up, so I need to finish. But so on our vacation, actually, we went to Death Valley and saw all these different things, or did these different things. We also went to Perl, where my grandparents raised chickens. So my kids got to, it was like going to a little farm. They got to go feed the chickens. My daughter got to gather the eggs. If you need attendance, here's the attendance. And then I have 2 pages for just any notes that you need. So that's what I have in here. And I have those for every single month. And then at the very end of the book, let's see, end of the year notes. Hold on. Sorry, I'm holding this. I usually don't hold these in my hand. So lots of space for notes for mom. There's a space back here for, hold on, not trying to make you sick or seasick. My son is coming down the stairs, so I'm trying to go quickly. There is a space, oh, here we go, for books read. So you can record all the books you've read. Now again, that's that's a lot for us because we read picture books by, you know, the chunk. We pick up we'll pick up 20 to 30 at a time at the library. This is kind of a cool section though. So especially when kids are reading slightly longer books and you want a list of all the books that they've read for school, this is a fun place. So I have 2 pages for that actually. And of course you could always take some of the notes sections for yourself. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go quickly because my kids are coming down the stairs, including my very grumpy 2-year-old. But something I would recommend, whether you're using something like this or not, is multicolored pens, because those really help me at a glance keep track of what subjects we've worked on for the day, what ones we need to work on. It really is just helpful at a glance. Again, you don't have to, it's just a tip. Some people like to get really fancy and order specialized planner stickers from like Etsy. I've done that before for just our daily activities. It's all up to you. It's what works to you. You could put a lot of this stuff in a spiral bound notebook if you didn't have much money. You can buy something like this. My planner is $14.99, and I'll put that in the blog post links. I tried to make it inexpensive so that if parents could if parents needed to buy more than one, it wasn't like they were spending $60 per planner per student. I know, because I have a $60 planner that I love, but I'm not buying one for each of my kids. Well, I need to go. Like this video if it was helpful. If you have any planning questions, please let me know. I will hope to do my best with answering. I will be putting up some more videos soon, probably, sorry, my kids are downstairs. Just a minute. Probably doing some book reviews soon as well, doing some teacher tips and tricks and hacks. And if you have any questions, email me, go to my website, sign up so you can get all the free stuff that I give, and you have a fantastic day. Hey, just a quick note. I wanted to point out really quickly that there is a difference between planning for a school year and trying to survive during quarantine. I don't want people to feel like they have to plan this quarantine out, because honestly, no one knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows how long it's going to last, how long we're going to be stuck inside. And as a lot of the homeschool memes that have been passed around point out, quarantine, what we're doing now, is not homeschooling. Usually homeschool families are out and about. We're doing all sorts of things, going outside, going to farmers markets, going on field trips. And that is not what's happening right now. So I don't want you to feel like you need to get a planner just for this quarantine and plan just for that. This quarantine is something that none of us have ever encountered before. And so when you're working through the quarantine, don't try to do it all at once. Don't try to do everything. We're continuing with everything because that's what we're used to. We have this as, we're prepared for it. We're used to doing it. If this is something that's new to you, start slow. Do reading. Read with your kid. Read all day long. Read fun books. Read books that are a higher level that they just like to listen to. Have them read with you. That reading, if you do nothing else, read with your kids. Do arts and crafts. Do things that they enjoy. Painting, drawing. I don't even include arts and crafts in my in my planner yet, because my daughter does them like 24/7 by herself. She has a whole I'm in her room right now. She has a whole corner over there full of art supplies that she just does on her own. As she gets older, of course, that will change. But for right now, don't feel like you have to plan everything for quarantine, because no one knows what's going to happen with this. No one knows how long it will last. And your area of the country will probably be different from others. If you're in New York, it's going to be very different from, if you're in rural Oklahoma. So don't feel like you have to plan it all now. Now, I have a friend who actually has the planner that I made that she said it's going to help her because it helps her to stress less if she can focus, and homeschooling with intentionality is going to really help her focus. So she's actually using the planner the way it was meant to be used. She's going to use everything in it that I'm aware of. But you don't feel like you have to be planning all of this out right now. Take a little bit of time. Maybe start with reading. Maybe when you read, add a few practice sight words, or do some counting. Do some work on lots of songs, singing, dancing, rhythm, math. There's a lot of math and music, patterns. Don't feel like you have to do it all. When I talk about planning, I talk about most normal homeschool families who are planning more for a year or a month at a time rather than what we're dealing with right now. So I just wanted to lighten the burden on you. Don't feel like you have to have it all figured out right now, because you don't. Take it one day at a time, do your best, and enjoy your children. That's the most important thing. Enjoy your children. Get the most out of this time that you can. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.